Hey friends, this is Beth Brown at Griffin Art coming to you from deep in the heart of West Texas. I'm wearing a smock today because it's not art chew. No, it's a process video. I know. Don't freak out. I had a friend over on the crafters community at Google Plus, my friend Linda, asked me to do a process video on how I was getting some of my jelly prints lately. And this is how I've been doing it. I'll show you an example of one. I'm not going to do this exact one because it requires vinyl stickers and they take kind of a while to peel off and stick back down. I think this is not specifically the one that she asked for, but this is almost the same. This is what I'm calling this print Oddball because I only used odd numbers. And these were just vinyl stickers from Home Depot. I put them sticky side up on the plate and backwards so that they would read off the right way. Remember, if you're going to do writing or numbers, you want to lay them on your plate backward so that when you pull the print, they read in the correct direction. So this is Oddball, and this is Oddball number 2, which was the Ghost. But I'm going to do this one first with these same colors so that you can see how I was doing it. And I think that I got this result based on the paint that I was using. And for this demonstration, I am using golden open acrylics. Let me tell you about these paints a little bit. I really like Golden's products. I always have. This makes me like them even more because now I just want to monoprint everything. And the open acrylics stay wet longer on the jelly plate so that you have more time to add and remove masks. Sometimes you can get even 2 ghost prints off of it, which the ghost print is the second pull after the first one, which resulted in this image here. So that's how the open acrylics work. The regular heavy body acrylics come in a tube like this that just say golden. And the open acrylics, I got some full-size ones for my birthday. The open acrylics have a black section back here, and they say open acrylics. This just says artist colors. Okay? So, I should note, the heavy bodies will work on your jelly plate, as will the golden fluid acrylics. They work just fine. They don't stay wet very long. With the fluid acrylics, I use a retarder. Okay? I mix the retarder in the paint over here on my palette paper. Then I use my palette knife to swipe it on. That works just fine. But I think the color combination that I got on Oddball was due to the fact that I was using golden colors. Can you achieve this with other paints that are not golden? Sure. It won't be exactly the same, but that's kind of the fun of mono printing to me. So we'll do a couple with the golden opens, and then we'll try to achieve the same effect with the Deco Art Americanas. So that's where we will start. The first thing that I do when I lay out my plate is I have a piece of paper, you can kind of see it, taped underneath my jelly plate. See? It's taped down. This serves as my registration mark. Then I center the plate and put it on that sheet of paper. Then I'm going to take the piece of paper that I'm going to print on, and the paper that I'm using today is Canson Bristol. This is the Artist Series. I got these on clearance at my art supply store here in town. Oh, side note, my children are here today, so if we have to pause and pick back up, you won't even know it. So, and it is 9 by 12, and it's 100-pound smooth Bristol. Okay, so the next thing that I do is take this sheet that I'm going to print on and line it up with the sheet of paper that I've already taped down here. See? I'm going to line it up with the top edge of this piece that I've taped down. I'm going to flip it to where the corners match, so that each time I pull a different color, I don't have to fiddle with trying to get the paper at the right spot so that my prints match up. So I'm going to tape it down, and I'm just using artist masking tape. So I've taped that down. I've got a hinge. Blue painter's tape will work, anything that's kind of low tack. And I'm going to link you guys to the videos where I learned this information. I found this information on the Golden YouTube channel. And the folks on the Jelly Arts channel just lay down and pick their paper up and lay down and pick their paper up. I think it's because they're so practiced at doing it, and I don't have quite that much practice. So I like to lay mine out and tape it down. So now we've got a nice hinge, and it's lined up with the paper. I know that my prints are going to match. I keep a scrap piece, you can't see it, but I keep a scrap piece of paper over here to clean my brayer. I like to keep the brayer off pages because they make really interesting backgrounds for art journaling or other pieces. And sometimes I get a combination of colors that I hadn't even thought of before. Okay, so usually the first color that I lay down is either going to be a blue or a something with a yellow tone. In some of my earlier prints, I used the quinacridone nickel azo gold, which is from Golden. I only have it in a 1 ounce in the fluid. So I added retarder and did this one first on some previous ones, but I'm not going to do that today. Today I'm going to start with blue. And the blue that I'm going to start with came in this little starter kit of Golden open acrylics. These are 3/4 ounce tubes. And this little set of 6 was about $30. So it is a little bit of an investment for you if you want to use the open acrylics. The larger tubes retail at my art store, depend on the series. Oh, I did get nickel azo gold for my birthday. Haha, I forgot about that. My birthday is next week, just in case you guys were wondering. It is next week, the 30th. Anyway, but I'm not gonna use it. These little guys, it was $30 for this little set of 3/4 ounce fluid ounce tubes, and you get a nice mix. In here, I have phthalo green, blue shade. I have Hansa yellow opaque, titanium white, quinacridone magenta, pyrrole red, and phthalo blue, green shade. So I'm going to start with the blue, the phthalo blue, green shade. And I'm telling you guys, it does not take much to cover the brayer because this stays wet so long. I'm gonna open it, and I'm gonna start down here at this end, and I'm just gonna put a little strip. I am using an Artist Touch brayer, which is from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using the firm brayer, not the foamy one. So I'm gonna put a little strip. That's plenty. Can you see? Just a little strip of paint there. And then I'm going to tube it back up. Okay, now take your brayer, roll out the paint. Since you're not really mixing colors directly on your palette, it doesn't matter what direction you roll in. I'm going to roll it out fairly thin, and I'm going to cover the whole plate. Whole plate is covered, and that's going to stay nice and wet for a good while. I'm going to take this, I'm going to push it over on my brayer off page. There it is. I've brayered it off, cleaned my brayer so that I can use it again in a moment. And now I'm going to add some shapes. Primarily I've been using these little amoeba type shapes, and they're covered with paint. I cut these out myself. You'll see them a little better as I lay them down. Doesn't matter if they curl up a little bit, just keep them in the same place. You don't want to slide them around. And I'm just randomly laying these in different places. I cut these out of cardstock so that they're a little more firm. Stay. And then now I've got these all laid out. Now I'm going to flip my paper and get the print. Sorry about that, had a little visitor. Had to talk to her. Okay, so I'm taking the print. I haven't done anything. This is still the blue with the amoeba shapes. I don't use a Baron. A Baron is a tool that goes flat and can do that. You can brayer over the top of this if your hands aren't strong enough. So let's see the blue. Ta-da! There's the blue. It's not the best shot. If I tip the monitor a little bit, because I'm recording straight from the computer. There you go. There's the blue. Now I'm going to pull off my shapes. Just stack them over here. And you can see the leftover that's on my plate. The cardstock had a little bit of pattern to it, a little bit of texture on it, so I'm getting some texture. That's an added bonus. If you're going to pull things off of your plate with a tool, make sure it's not sharp. I'm using a blunt plastic palette knife. There. So I've gotten those off. I'm taking a clean sheet, which is not taped down. So this is the ghost. I don't really mind if it's not as accurate. I'm just kind of lining it up with the sheet that's underneath. If you wanted to, you could tape it at this other end and flip for your ghost. So you've got your first print on this side and your ghost over there. You could do that if you didn't want to line it up. But since it's the ghost, I don't mind if it's not as accurate as the first one. And there's the ghost. See, it looks like cells to me. I can't get over it. It's just a cool shape. I really like it. Okay, there's the ghost. Now I'm going to clean. I use a spritz of water and my dearly, dearly loved rag over here, which used to be a cloth baby diaper. And I just clean it off. You don't have to clean between. Some people like not to clean between because they like picking up those extra bits. Just check to make sure it's dry, and I'm dry. The next color up for me, I think, is going to be the yellow. The Hansa Yellow Opaque. And I'll explain why I'm choosing these colors in just a moment when we get the final result. So, same process. I'm adding a little strip down here. Not much. A little bit goes a long way. Cap that up. Brayer. And spread the paint. See, it's so easy. So much fun. Okay, I've got that laid out. It's fairly thin. It's going to stay wet because we're using those opens. Cleaning my brayer. And then I'm going to lay these shapes in here again in a different random pattern. I tend to flip them over each time because they do curl a little bit when you use paper cut masks. The cardstock really holds up a lot better than regular paper. I've done some masking with magazine images for silhouettes. I've done some masking with copy paper, and they just don't hold up as much. And you can look at your other piece that's right here for reference, putting these in spots where those aren't. But the fun part is when they cross over a little bit. All right, here we go. Print number 2. Second pass. Nice, firm. Again, you can use your brayer if your hands aren't strong enough to get down there and push. It gives a little bit, not a ton. And you're not going to get much smush because you're not using a whole lot of paint. And there's the second pull. And I'll tip the monitor again so you can see it. There's the second pull. Isn't that awesome? And I'm going to pull off my masks again. Sorry about my hair. I've had a hat on most of the morning. Okay, there's still a good amount of that yellow on there. And I'm picking up my same ghost, lining it up with the sheet that's underneath, and picking up the second ghost. Okay, let's see it. Sorry, second visit from our visitor upstairs, our little guests. Okay, here we go. This is the second ghost pull. Ta-da! Blues and greens. Or blue and yellow are the only colors I've used. We're getting green, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. So that's the second ghost pull. And I'll clean once more. Here again, you don't have to clean every time. If you want a more random look, just leave that paint on there and do it again. I want this first one to be really crisp, so that's why I'm cleaning it every time. And you want to use something soft. This is getting a little crunchy from cleaning and all that good stuff, so I'm going to have to replace it soon, but anyway. The last color that I'm going to use is quinacridone magenta. Same process as before. I'm going to put a thin strip down here. Doesn't take much at all. At all. I'm going to roll it out. It's very thin. It's very transparent on the plate. Excuse me. But somehow it's very juicy when you get the print. That's why the people at Golden are scientists and I'm not. Okay, cleaned my brayer. And for the last time, I'm going to lay down some shapes. I'm kind of using this as reference to get some of these shapes where I don't have any. Just eyeballing it. No, that one's too close, and that one's the same one. Let's do this one out there. This guy over here, kind of hanging off the edge. There. There. And maybe here. Is that enough? Maybe one more. Do I have another little one I can fit in there? Where'd this guy go? It's kind of big. This one's a little smaller. No, I think I'm okay. Okay. Last pull. Flipping it over. The original. I'm giving it a good squish. A good squishy, squishy, squish. I sounded like a goofball when I said that. Why did I say that? I'm trying to fill. Okay. And final pull. Oh my gosh. I'm tearing my underpaper. That's okay. And that's the last pull. Look at that. Look at that. I'm in love with this. Are you appreciating the full value that we've got going on here? Let me grab this ghost. I could probably sit here and talk to you and explain what I'm about to explain without removing this, because the open acrylics are going to stay wet. And my masks are fairly wet. I need to lay them out to dry so that I can use them again later. And here's the third ghost. Lining it up. Pressing it down. If you hear the footsteps, that's my goofballs upstairs. Yeah, I'm all about that. I could do this all day long with nothing but these three colors. And you may have already guessed the reason that I chose these three colors. Yellow, red, and blue are primary colors. I know that wherever they mix and blend, I'm going to get another color that is not too far out. I'm going to get greens. I'm going to get oranges. I'm going to get some purples and deeper tones of the regular blue, red, and yellow. So that's why I chose red, blue, and yellow. Now, they were not exactly primary red, blue, and yellow. They were the phthalo blue in the green shade. It was the Hansa yellow opaque and the quinacridone magenta. So the magenta served as my red, the Phthalo Blue shade served as my blue, and the Hansa Yellow Opaque served as the yellow. I have done this with other tones of these colors. I've done Manganese Blue Hue, again with the Quinacridone Magenta, and the Diary Light Yellow. So, red, blue, yellow again. I've done Ultramarine and Pyrrole Red, or Naphthol Red Light, excuse me, and the Diary Light. I've done these. That's why I chose those colors. I've even swapped that blue out for teal, with the teal and the red and the yellow, letting this serve as my blue tone. So it's just a little bit of fiddling. I've done the Quinacridone Nickel Azo, which turns out a little more yellowy. I've swapped this out for the yellow tone. That's why I worked with those three. So there it is. The ghost and the print. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. My Brayer Off sheet is a 12 by 12 piece of old scrapbook paper. Because who uses scrapbook paper anymore? I don't. I know a lot of you do. I love paper. But there's my Brayer page. Now, if you want, now what? Now what's the question? What do I do with these? You don't have to do anything with them. You sure don't. You could write on them. You could use them to cover a journal. You can just whatever you wanted to do. You can make a card out of them. You could frame it and give it to a friend who is interested in modern art amoeba shapes. Those people exist. I just can't get enough of looking at the vibrant colors in there. I'm impressed with myself. None of this was information that I just came up with on my own, except for the way that I tape down my paper, which even was suggested in a video over at Golden, but she kind of did hers a different way. None of this is anything. The Golden Paints YouTube channel and the Jelly Arts video channel, YouTube channel, are where I have seen the majority of these things. These amoeba shapes, these were all mine. I just freehanded these with an X-Acto knife out of cardstock. So those were my idea, I guess. So there we have it. And these are going to stay moist for a little bit. You want to lay them out, not more than an hour or so. It's not going to take days like an oil painting would take days to dry. So I'm going to lay these out and let them dry, and hopefully I'll do something with them. Okay, let's do one more try, and let's try this with some of the Deco Art paints, because I really like their paints, and they give you a completely different effect on the Jelly plate. They are not as opaque as the Goldens, not as transparent. They're more opaque, meaning that they're thicker. There is a wider variety of colors in with different names and things that their catalog's pretty extensive because they are. I don't know why. I don't know what I was going to say about that. They behave a little bit differently than the Golden Opens. They don't stay wet as long. I'm telling you that right now. They don't stay wet as long. You can add a retarder to them. It's not awesome. It's not as crisp as something like this. But this may not be the effect that you're going for. If you're going for something that's more muted, something that has lots and lots of colors mixed in, Deco Art's the way to go. And the Deco Art products are definitely more friendly on your wallet. That being said, what did I start with over there? A blue? Okay, let's start with the blue tone. In the, it's up here. Deco Art Americana line. This is Midnight Blue. So we're going to start with this one. And I'm going to add it to the middle of the palette instead of at the end. I'm adding a touch more than I would have if I was using the golden. And we're going to spread it. Working fairly quickly. This is Midnight Blue. And I think I'm going to use stripes this time, some square stripes that I had cut myself out of that same lightly textured cardstock. I'm cleaning off my brayer. Oh, I didn't tape my page down. That's okay. I won't tape this one down. Simply because I forgot. And I'm gonna, here are my square masks. I'm just gonna lay these in here in a random way. A little bit quicker, working a little bit more quickly than before. Have a couple of them hanging off like that, and maybe one right there. Sorry. Didn't do anything but lay the paper down. Matched it up to my paper that's under the jelly plate. I'm giving it a firm push all over that. Okay, and then I'm going to peel it off. Peeling it up. And there's the blue layer. Okay. And I'm going to pick up my masks, my stripy square masks. I don't typically have as much left over on the plate when I use these, which is good because I don't feel like I'm wasting anything. And these I usually pick up with a piece of deli paper that I keep over here in the corner. So I'm going to pick up the ghost with some deli paper. Oop, tore it a little bit. That's okay. I only ever use these for backgrounding and stuff. And you can see already how much more quickly those dry. And that's all I got up off of the ghost. But that's okay because I'm going to use this same piece each time and see what I can come up with. And then I'm going to clean my plate. But that blue, that Midnight Blue from Deco Arts in the Americana line with the gold top, which gives you a matte finish, is still very lovely. Very lovely, very vibrant color. Okay? What tone did I use second on the other one? I used the red tone second. So, let's go with Primary Red from Americana Deco Art. I'm going to add it right in the middle. Come on. Right in the middle. Good bit. Brayer. And I'm spreading. It's not too thick. Not too thin. May take you a couple of times to achieve the thickness or thinness that you want, but that's all about you and how you work and how you want to get it on the plate. What sort of effect you're going for. Cleaning my brayer. And then I'm going to lay my masks back in here in some different ways. Again, I'm using this one over here as a reference to just kind of fill and get some of these stripes in squares, shapes in different places than they were before. And that one hanging off. And I've got my piece here, pretending like I taped it down, and on it goes. Oh, you know what? On that other one, I used yellow in the middle. I don't really think it matters. It's okay. I got to thinking about that. Okay, let's pull it up. Ta-da! There's the second. I like that a lot. It's got sort of this a little more broken, less crisp, sort of funky look to it. I really like it. Really like it. All right, I'm going to use that same piece of deli paper. See what I can get up with the ghost. Maybe not a ton, maybe a little more than before. Oh yeah, quite a bit more than before. And I'm just moving the paper to pick up that extra paint. Okay. That's pretty cool. Again with the Americana Deco Arts, this is bright yellow. Just a little bit right in the center. Sprayer. And I'm spreading the yellow. I want to cover the whole plate. I want to cover the whole plate. You may not want to cover the whole plate. Cleaning the brayer. And I'm laying my squares in again. I want one here. Hanging off. I want one here. Maybe there. I don't want, for whatever reason, I want that one right next to it. I want them to be buddies. One over here. Then here. And here. All right, last pull. Pretending again that I had taped that down. Flipping. And getting the last pull. Okay, here we go. Oh, so cool. There we go. And you can see, because we used the primary colors again, you're getting the greens here. We laid down no green. You're getting some purples here. We didn't put any purple on. We've got some oranges going on. We didn't put any oranges in, but that's cool. That's cool. I don't care who you are. That's awesome. So we've got Americana Deco Art versus Golden Open. You can tell they're different. They're different companies. They're different paints. So just depends on what you're going for. Golden, Americana. I'll take a few pictures and put these up at the end. Also, I will probably post these on Instagram, and who knows, they may show up over at Society 6 for you to get a print of your own if you're feeling the need. Thanks for watching. I haven't done a process video in ages. Before I shut her off, let's see if we get any yellow on the ghost here. Sorry, I almost forgot. Sorry. I probably waited too long. We may not get a ton. Boop. Right on there. Just picking it up. Oh yeah. We got some yellow on there. See? I would save this for several sessions and use it all up. So that's what I do. That's what I like doing. I'm going to clean it off. A bit of water. My soft rag. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I will try to have some more for you later. Linda, thanks for the idea. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, my friends, remember to give love.